Hey, what's up? This is JM, host of the Celebrity Grill podcast on iTunes, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show. This is a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I happen to be the program host, Greg Reppy. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you want to jump in on the show this evening, but you don't know how to do it, here's the contact info.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening during the next 120 minutes in case you didn't get the newsletter. In about 13 minutes from now, he is a very successful competition pitmaster. He is a creator of his own line of rubs and sauces. He also happens to work for the first Tuesday of the month regular guest. And since he is not able to make it in this evening, we are backfilling with pleasure none other than the pitmaster of Swine Life BBQ and the creator of the same named YouTube channel. Mark Williams joins the show. And we're going to talk to Mark about the recap of Memphis in May. Now, as I had mentioned, Mark, a very successful competition cook in his own right, but did not compete under the Swine Life BBQ flag at Memphis in May a couple weeks ago. Instead, he was a helper in the Killer Hogs / How to Barbecue Right team, which had a very successful weekend. So we'll get Mark's feedback on the team's success, what the wins were, where they fell short on the main portion of the competition, at least in his estimation. Although just putting in the Herculean effort of competing at Memphis in May, and I've never been, but I've heard through Mark and Malcom and everybody else that I've ever interviewed over the 16, 18 years that I've been doing this, the real difference that Memphis in May brings to the competition table versus every other sanctioning body and those typical events bring to the competition table. And Memphis in May is at least 1 or 7 notches above the traditional competition strata. So we'll talk to Mark about that. And we will also talk to Mark about a handful of other topics, not the least of which is the balance of running your own company and own brand, Swine Life BBQ and team, and then also working for Malcom Reed in the Heart of Barbecue Right umbrella, the store and all of his brands and the YouTube stuff and the podcast. Mark is part of or is an employee at How to Barbecue Right, so we'll talk to him about balancing two different brands, one that is his, one that is his good buddies, and how you are able to delineate the two and not feel like you're not giving enough to yours and that you're not giving enough to the guy that's employing you at the same time who happens to be your friend. So interesting stuff there. We'll also close it out with some Holstein cow talk. I don't know if it was the last time Mark was on, but maybe it was the time before that. He had offhandedly mentioned that he was a new eater / fan of the Holstein, the milk cows. And I thought this was going to be a trend that was going to show up. I thought it was going to be hot and heavy, and didn't really materialize here through the first half of the year. So we'll follow up with him on that and find out all about milk cows and eating them versus just drinking what they're producing. So that'll be Mark Williams, Swine Life BBQ, 14 past. 35 past the hour. We'll be joined by a James Beard nominee, a James Beard Award winner, author of 3 different books to all high acclaim, not the least of which was the most recent, Black Smoke. Friend of show, Adrian Miller, will be on. So we'll obviously talk to him about the book, Black Smoke, and the praise that it is getting, not only from the pitmasters and the fans of Live Fire, but also from those that give awards, not the least of which is the James Beard Foundation, because Black Smoke is a nominee for book. So looking forward to catching up with Adrian on that. Adrian also part of the names committee for the BBQ Hall of Fame. So while he wasn't there for the original taking the mass nominees and paring them down into the 9, we could get a unique point of view from Adrian on what did you think of the 9? What do you think of the 4 going in? Legacy, obviously, on top of that. And then there was a whole portion in the not the legacy side, but there was an impact award that was given out this year for the first time to the unsung black barbecue cooks, and I have some questions that I want to ask him about that specifically. So Adrian Miller, 35 past. That closes the first hour. We go to the second hour, and look who's back in the second hour, first Tuesday of the month. Sam, the cooking guy, out of the country last month, back in country this month. So you know there is no shortage of stuff to catch up with Sam on, not the least of which playing a new round of What Does Sam Like Best? So you can take part in that and try and win a free prize. Whole new game loaded up. Follow me socially on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat at BBQ Central Show for live video feeds of this show. You can go to Facebook and Twitch right now /BBQ Central Show. Also over on YouTube /RD Rempe. And there is a live audio feed on Clubhouse as well, which is where you will also play What Does Sam Like Best if you would like to do that. So that's how you get the show in all forms and fashions. And let's start here tonight. You know, many of you sending in notes of shock and amazement as it relates to the Next Grill unit that has an installed air fryer on it. Gas grill one side and directly next to it, an air fryer. Many of you taking shots at it. Much smaller percentage of you willing to give it some room to see if it really takes off or not. Some said they might even put an order in advance so they can grab one when it shows up their respective Home Depot stores. If you haven't gotten the podcast yet and heard all about it, certainly worth a listen. Both guests in the first hour actually were very good. Joe Davidson and Ramsey Hawfield, Oklahoma Joe and Next Grill respectively. So I will be interested to hear what your experience is with the air fryer /grill. And remember, it's also a smart grill too. Thermostatically controlled to boot. I'm interested to see who buys it and how you like it, because as Ramsey mentioned on the show, and I don't know how many of you picked up on it, Next Grill is really making units price point specific. While they are trying to add features and add value on the cooker, they are trying to also perhaps mostly reach a price point in the market where they feel that they're competitive. And I'll be interested to see how this Next Grill unit actually measures up. Much like Charbroil, Next Grill, a lot of great concepts, but when the rubber meets the road, how does it actually meet the expectation of the consumer that buys it? And time will tell on that. Listener feedback from the show last week and a week before that. Brian in Texas writing in, Greg, no offense, but I think we're going to get offended here, Brian. I'm just making a guess. But typically sentences that start off with no offense but means everything that you're going to say after that is going to offend me, but we'll give it a try anyway. Greg, no offense, but you and the embedded correspondents all suck at singing. Maybe stop at season 3 and call it a non-career.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Love the show. Regards, Brian. Brian, we value your input. We will talk about it after the 3rd season of American Idol's BBQ Central Show Edition comes to a conclusion, but not before that. Jim in Alabama writing in, Greg, Dr. Barbecue was really on his game last week. The whole conversation was great. and I really appreciate his openness when answering your questions. He just doesn't hold back, and I love that about him. Regards, Jim. Jim, I found Ray to be absolutely refreshing last week as well. I think a little time in between segments is also doing some positive things. So always appreciate Ray for the life of the show. He was a regular contributor for many, many years and started to space him out a little bit. So good to have Ray back on and catch up with him. And I agree. He really did a great job last segment last week. Jason in Virginia writing, hey, Greg, do you have any follow-up on the guy who sued Popeyes over the chicken sandwich a year and a half ago or so? And what happened to the lawsuit? And also, what happened to the movie that was being filmed at Steve Ray's garage? These are the questions that are keeping me up at night. Loyal Centralite Jason. Jason, appreciate you for writing in. I have no follow-up on the lawsuit over the Popeyes chicken sandwich. I have no follow-up over the movie that was supposed to be at Steve Ray's house, and I don't even know who Steve Ray is. Who's that? All right, Mark Williams is in the green room. We're going to get to him here in just 1 second. Before we do that, since the company's humble beginnings in 1987, Oklahoma Joe's has helped those who appreciate the process and craft of smoking. What began with Joe Davidson, a member of the BBQ Hall of Fame, and a dozen hand-built smokers at the Oklahoma State Fair over 30 years ago has since forged an Oklahoma Joe's brand that builds some of the most sought-after and trusted cookers on the market. Oklahoma Joe's has a proud history of creating uncompromising smokers and grills with a carefully crafted design, and the newest generation of the popular Rider Series pellet grills carries on that tradition. The new features in the Oklahoma Joe's Rider Deluxe pellet grills include these: a Pit Control 2.0 system that delivers the category's first dual sensor temperature control. Fire-focused dual sensored feedback optimizes temperature control based on the selected cooking style, low and slow smoking, or high heat grilling. A power feed system that boasts a high torque motor and auger that powers through pellets for incredible power and performance. And the new Rider Deluxe series builds on several popular features, including the smoke and sear modes, which feature an impressive temperature range that runs from 200 degrees to a searing hot 650 degrees, and a 20-pound quick drawer hopper that allows unused pellets to be drained in seconds for simple storage, removal, and the swapping of pellets. I can vouch for that because the second cooker showed up, assembled, and it's working. I haven't cooked fully on it yet, but the burn-in is done. We got through all the tech issues there on that first one. I'm actually looking to be a little handy with that first one, too, see if I can't get that up and running. Different story for a different day. But the quick draw pellet hopper is very unique. You pull that drawer, and it is literally dropped 20 pounds of pellets in mere seconds. So if you want to learn more about it, go to oklahomajoes.com. That's oklahomajoes.com. Find a retailer near you and see it in person and see what you should be considering as you add grills to the arsenal this year. All right, we are back with Mark Williams from Swine Life BBQ right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show, presented by the Rider Deluxe Pellet Grills from Oklahoma Joe's. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by the BBQ Guru, creators of automatic temperature control technology, sellers of ceramic cookers with built-in power draft fans, and accessories to make your barbecue and grilling life easier. Visit bbqguru.com for more information or call them with questions, 800-288-GURU. The Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. My first guest tonight, filling in for our usual opening segment guest, Malcom Reed. He's the pitmaster of the Swine Life BBQ team, creator of the Swine Life BBQ YouTube channel. we race to the Oklahoma Joe's Pellet Grills hotline and welcome back friend of show, Mark Williams. Hey, Mark.
Man, how's it going, Greg?
I am fabulous. Appreciate you making time here for the show. I don't like to say filling in for Malcolm, but in supplement of Malcolm's absence, we are lucky to have somebody of your caliber step in and do these segments from time to time. Big weekend a couple weeks ago, obviously, especially in your neck of the woods, right? I mean, you're in Mississippi, but you're only an hour and change away from Memphis. And, of course, Memphis in May came off to a number of really cool things happening, not the least of which is a couple of technical KCBS guys, winning whole hog category, which was, a huge kick in the teeth as far as I was concerned, and then winning the overall grand championship or the world grand championship. So as a guy who has seen a lot of success on the KCBS circuit as yourself, what do you think of that win, and does that change a dynamic for ongoing Memphis in Mays, or do you think that you just run into a buzzsaw every so often and Tim and Brad were able to rattle off 3, really good years and culminate in a grand championship here the last time around?
Well, I'm going to be honest. To see a whole hog on a drum, that's got to be impressive. Like, that in itself to me is a feat, because I mean that's unheard of, And Memphis in May, it's a lot of good cooks. It does take, you got to nail your recipe, you got to do an excellent job, but you still got to have luck. But I'm gonna be honest, doing 3 years in a row like that well at Memphis, that's a heck of a feat, man. All respect to them. It's impressive, no doubt.
5th place ribs first year in, win shoulder the second year, and obviously win hog and then win the whole damn thing a couple weeks ago. I was surprised that they didn't try to double up for a repeat on the shoulder, but Tim said that within their tight group that people were already giving him and Brad a little crap, going, okay, well, you did the shoulder, what are you going to do next? And it appears Tim and Brad are go big, go home. They build this huge drum, and as you said, a sight to behold, no doubt, but traditionally, and through the history of me doing the show and covering Memphis in May every year that I have done the show, nobody has ever talked about doing a hog like that. Is it unfair to say seeing something like that might have added a little bit more glitz and glam to the whole thing versus just seeing it in a traditional hog cooker like you have for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years?
A true judge should be able to, still know that's impressive, but that shouldn't influence their decision on how well that hog was cooked, the texture, the taste. But, a drum flat out cooks pork. And as much drippings as you get on a hog over those coals, it had to taste good, I love a pork butt on a drum. They're hard to beat. And I can only imagine the flavor that hog had to be spot on. And I would say, if I was a judge and walked in on finals and seen a hog in a drum, that's going to perk my interest. Like, I'm gonna be excited about trying this hog, no doubt. So, but at the end of the day, you still have to cook a good hog. You still have to nail your marks. There's still, there's just because you cooked on a drum does not take the credit away from the guys. They're a heck of a cook, and they done it, and they done it with a bang. It was very impressive.
Mark Williams joining me from Swine Life BBQ. Obviously, the team, Killer Hogs, How to Barbecue Right, the whole brand there has a pretty good weekend itself. From your aspect, what are you doing as part of the team? What are your responsibilities that weekend?
So that weekend, my responsibilities start about January 1. So we're already practicing ribs, and we're getting stuff lined out, and we're getting excited. Usually right now is when the excitement kind of starts building for next year. The month after, I could care less about Memphis May. I'm done with it from May, whenever it's over, to now. But a lot of my stuff I do for Killer Hogs is, I do a lot of practicing. I help getting everything together. Me and Malcolm and Michelle, we sit down in the office every week and we go over our plan, what ancillaries we're going to cook, what we're going to feed, the team when they get there, basically lay out the site. I had a pretty good influence this year as far as, what all got done. I'm usually the guy that goes to cook's meet now. Me and my brother Jamie do. Load in and out trailers, empty the poop tank on a comp trailer, pretty much anything from cooking ribs to being a plumber. So it's a pretty big operation, but I'm blessed to be able to do that. Years ago, I never would have thought I had the opportunity to actually cook at Memphis in May. And looking back on it, I'm blessed and I'm lucky to be able to do it. I know there's a ton of people that that's something they look forward to, and I'm tickled to death to be a part of it. And I was able to cook poultry this year. I done beef. Of course, we had some other people on the team. Brian, son of a butcher, and Russell Wright and his family. They all come up and helped us. So it was a team effort all along. And of course, we had Jay Craig with Outlaw Smokers, and he come in and he helped me with the poultry, and cooked on that massive BFO and cooked ribs, and we had a big time. I can't complain one bit.
The team actually does really well in a number of the ancillary categories. There's a second place turkey. There's a first place poultry. We'll call it first place, Mark. I think you said there might have been a tie for perfect scores, but we'll call it first place.
Poultry was first place.
Oh, so what was the tie? Was that the turkey was a tie?
I think the tie was for, actually, I want to say all the ancillaries, like the top 6 or 7, were all perfect scores.
Oh,
So
really?
pretty much, if you were in the top 5 in any of the ancillaries, it was a coin flip where you landed. So poultry got first, and then I think wings were second, turkey was second. There was a 5th or 6th, maybe that was seafood, I think. And then, of course, we had some sauces in like 13th and 11th or whatever they were. But we had a good cook and we had a good time.
You had mentioned that you were the poultry cook. So is that something where every team is cooking the same thing, or are you just coming up with a poultry dish? And if the latter, what did you come up with? And that's a huge accomplishment of first place turkey, or first place poultry.
Poultry is pretty much anything. I guess it can be anything from duck to turkey to chicken. It could be whatever. And it's mild to wild. Like, I know a lot of people do, bacon wrapped thighs, the old like jalapeno popper chicken thighs wrapped bacon. I mean, there's a ton of recipes. If it includes chicken or any type of poultry, it can be turned in. And I just went back to a chicken recipe that actually got us a first at the Jack in 15. And I turned in a Jack box. I had 6 thighs and 6 flats, and done the white and dark meat, old school chicken, just simple, good eating chicken. And it worked. I never would have thought it would have worked, but it did.
Maybe being simple stands out from all the other outrageous and luxurious turn-ins.
I think so. And I think that's one thing I've always said about Memphis in May is it's back to old school barbecue. It's back to your roots. I think that's one reason that, the drums do so well up there is, you got that fat dripping on them coals, and that's a flavor that, Memphis is kind of known for. It's one of them things that I guess everybody's known for, cooking over pit, over live fire. And I think that stands out. You get a lot more flavor, and you can get away with a lot more, just more of a rib or more of a barbecue taste that you would like to eat at home. It's not fruity. It's not out in left field and all these crazy flavors. It's just old school, good eating barbecue.
What happens over the weekend? I assume you guys, since you were talking about getting all these rib timelines and recipes down, that the main meat for the actual competition was ribs this year. So how did it all break down for you guys, and where do you feel? How did you feel about the cook, and did you feel like there were any deficiencies or places where you guys fell short?
So last year we had an excellent cook when we ended up 6 in ribs last year. So
right.
We really sat down and looked over those scores, and we had 2 judges in our blind box give us like a 9.9 in taste. And we kind of ran those same recipes, and I run that recipe in KCBS every time we cook. It's a simple recipe, and it's a good rib. And I ran the exact same recipe at a local MBN contest in April, and we got the same 2, not same 2 judges, but we had 2 judges again. The blind box give us a 9.9. So we kind of sat down and got to talking, and maybe we're just a little too strong on flavor. Maybe we're offending 2 judges somewhere, So we really backed off on our finished rub and kind of mellowed that rib out, and thought we'd done the right call. We thought I love the rib. It was a smooth rib, wasn't offensive at all to me. And cook went smooth. We got up early. Of course, they moved ribs to the very front of the turn-ins. I think it was 10:45 to 11. So we had to get ribs on pretty early in the morning, Saturday morning. Cook went great. Took them off. They all temped well, and it was pretty hot that day. So we were trying to be careful of holding these ribs for an hour, wanting them to rest a little bit, not to let them carry over. So we were venting the coolers, and we were taking our time babysitting these ribs. Glazed up, got finished them off. They were beautiful. Got them in the box. One of the prettiest turn-in boxes that I've ever been a part of, I've ever seen. Everything went great. And, at that point, you turn the blind box in, your 3 finals judges, or not your finals judges, your 3 on-site judges come by. Everything went off like a hitch. It was a very smooth cook, very smooth Saturday. And, you know, we were all, you try not to be overly optimistic because there's another 150 plus rib teams that are darn good teams. You know, they're there and they're all optimistic just like you are. So I try not to stay out front after all our turn-ins are and the ancillary or the blind box and everything's in. I don't stay out front of the booth because I don't want to be looking for that golf cart to slow down, you know. And then, of course, you start hearing teams holler, and you know that golf cart's close. But golf cart didn't stop at our booth this year. But I mean, of course, you're disappointed. Anybody says, well, I'm not disappointed we had a good cook, they're lying. I mean, you got a lot of heart and soul poured into that cook, or any contest for that matter. And ended up finishing out, I think we were 42nd in ribs, which was a pretty good, that was a kick to the boys there. That knocked the wind out of me. And we kind of looked over the scores, and it was the same thing, 9.9. You know, we missed a taste score just by 1/10 of a point in the blind box. And I think one judge gave us like a 9.9 and overall, and that killed us. You know, that's, if you get a 9 period in the blind box, you're done. But I mean, you never know. It's so many variables that go into that. We could have lined up against another awesome rib team. We got 2 of their 10s. They got our other 2 10s, and we just knocked each other out. So it's still a lot of luck involved in that contest, but I wasn't disappointed. We had all 3 on-site judges come back. All of them we got all their 10s, and, you know, all 3 on-site judges, I went out there and talked to them and, you know, really wanted to get some details from them. You know, I want some critiquing on the rib. What'd you think? And all 3 said it was the best rib they had that day. And, you know, we couldn't have done any better on that. And I was proud of that. And we all were. And that's one thing that I struggle with, is because I am cooking with Killer Hogs. I'm not representing Swine Life. I'm representing Killer Hogs. And so I take a lot more pride in that. You know, it's not just my feelings are out there playing. I'm cooking for a whole nother team. And I wear it on my shoulders, and everybody says, you know, Saturday morning, right before we start glazing ribs, I'm a different person. I don't smile. I don't talk to anybody. I'm just in the zone, and everybody knows what they're supposed to do. You know, Brian, my brother Jamie, and then Jay Outlaw, like we've cooked this recipe 20 times this year, and we know exactly what each person's their job is, and we don't question it. And then when it comes time to put everything in the box, I do get some insight. You know, it's me and Malcolm's brother, Waylon. I had Jay with Outlaw with us. He was in the trailer, and that's how we broke it down and put it in the blind box. We all tasted every slab. And I think we put the best foot forward, and we just didn't have the luck. We used all the luck up on Friday with all those good ancillary calls.
So will you go through all of the feedback that you get now and do a revamp on the ribs for next year? Or will you just throw it away and decide to go to shoulder instead?
Oh, no. I mean, if we went to anything again next year, if I had to bet, we'd probably go to hog, just because we've done shoulder, we've done ribs, and I've cooked on a hog cooker a lot this year, and actually kind of got one on the way coming down here again for us to cook on. And, you know, I enjoy cooking a hog, but, you know, I'd rather just win ribs and then go win hog and then win shoulder again, you know, just win all 3, you know. But I don't know. I don't know what next year holds. I think next year's going to look way different, especially being on the river with the new park and everything. So I think next year's Memphis in May is going to be a different Memphis in May for every team down there.
Mark, before I let you go, I think a time or 2 that you were on ago, you had talked about Holstein or milk cows and how great they were for eating, and it was a revelation. I got a lot of feedback from fans going, these are cows for milk, not for eating, but you had made it sound so great that I think there was a keenness from the live fire community waiting to see if this something was going to pick up steam. So as we sit here now halfway through 2022, where I thought it might have already really kicked up and taken over the whole meat industry of people deciding they're going to be pushing the Wagyu off to the side and bringing in the milk cows to eat, where are we sitting at with the whole milk cow situation?
So the milk cows are very, very small farm in Mentone, Indiana. There's not a large production there. It's nothing that you're not going to see these take over the comp circuit. It's kind of a hidden gem right there in Indiana. If I had to compare it, it's all the texture and all the great rich flavor of a Wagyu, but with not being so rich, you can't sit down and enjoy it. You can sit down and eat a ribeye and not be bloated and feel like you're going to die afterwards. And they are small. They're small loins. They're probably 10 to 12 ounce ribeyes. They're not big at all. And I really don't know the whole backstory. I actually tried to. It's Jay Craig's like neighbor right down the road, and I tried to call him before I got on to kind of get some more details, and he actually just tried to call me back, but he just kind of text me if he wants me to talk about it. But it's man, they're grain fed out on sweet feed, and I mean they're marbled up. They're beautiful. It's as marbled as any Wagyu I've seen. Now it's not a A5 Japanese, but it's as good as any I've ever seen, and the fat's a little yellower, and you can enjoy this. Like if I'm gonna cook, if I want to impress somebody at home, I'm grabbing those out of the freezer, and because it's not so overly rich, it's just gonna blow the guy out. Like they can actually taste like this is excellent beef, but it's not so rich it's gonna hurt you.
So when you look at it visually, would you say it's got the same fat content or fat appearance as a prime grade?
Oh no, it blows prime out of the water.
Really?
It's yes, it's closer to like an Australian A8, A9 ribeye.
Wow. And
I want to get some of their briskets. I want to try some other cuts from them for sure.
And the cuts are just smaller in size, or is that just that particular one you were talking about?
No, they're all small. I want to say the fillets might be 4 to 6 ounce. Like they're not big at all. But it's perfect. You know, you can eat all the sides. You can eat all the mushrooms and mashed potatoes on the side and still enjoy your meal. You know, it's just right.
Before I let you go, and I appreciate the time, Mark, you had made on your YouTube channel a couple days ago the video posted on no-flip hamburgers. So are you able to give us a little bit of a tease on that to make sure that those who haven't taken in that video, make sure they get over there in the next couple days and check it out?
So the no-flip burger has been around for a while. I think it started on pellet grills several years back. There's several people that were doing them. I think one of them they done was like they referred to as the Juicy Lucy. I think it was butter and no-flip, whatever. But I always thought, you know, why not treat a burger just like you do a prime rib? So what I usually do with this, I'll start out with half-pound patties, get them on there. I run them on the stick burner this time, but I've actually done this recipe for another pellet grill company, Grill of Grills, same recipe, just on a different pit. And basically I take rosemary, chives, garlic, all the good stuff that would be on a prime rib, put it in a little dish beside those burgers, let that butter melt, and baste the burgers with all that goodness the whole time they're cooking. It takes them about an hour. It's a very slow cook for a burger, but the texture you get is pillowy soft. I told you earlier, it's like eating a cloud of prime beef. I mean, it's delicious, and you don't lose as much. Like it renders the fat, but it doesn't lose the fat. So when you cut it, I mean, you're going to make a mess. It's going to run down to your elbows. I mean, but it's so good.
Are you taking it to a traditional ground beef temperature of like 155, 160, or will you cook under that?
I discovered something in that video, and I did not mention it in the video, is I took it to, my goal was about 145. I wanted it medium, you know, right there on the medium, kind of a little under medium. But so I took it to 140, and then I took my provolone cheese, and it was cold out of the refrigerator. And I put my toppings. I had onions and mushrooms. I topped the burger, and I put that cheese on it. And that cheese stopped that burger from cooking. It stopped right then. It got to 140, and it never moved another degree for about 25 minutes. And I think that only made that burger better because, I mean, it picked up more flavor. Those drippings from the onions and mushrooms, of course, absorbed in that burger. And it got to about 142, and I told my wife, I was like, there's no way, like, these got to be done. Like, I was like, we got to get them up. And when I cut it, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, that's how I like my burger. So the cheese actually slowed it down. So at a lower temp like that, that's something for, you know, people to pay attention to. If you got a meat probe in there, that cheese is going to slow that burger down when it's cold.
We're talking with Mark Williams from Swine Life BBQ, and the same name on his YouTube channel, Swine Life BBQ. Get over there if you haven't seen it and check out that no-flip burger video. You will thank Mark and me for the suggestion, and Mark for the recipe, of course. Mark, always appreciate the time you give to the show, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
You got it. There he is. Mark Williams right there.
All guests appear via the Oklahoma Joe's
Swine
Ryder
Life
Deluxe
BBQ.
Pellet Grills hotline.
No flip burgers. That's right. We love no flip burgers. Juicy and, what did Mark say? Cold cheese stops from cooking. All right. So we have Adrian Miller in the green room. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. Big Papa Smokers is the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Will get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at Big Papa Smokers has been Pitmaster approved. by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. From the award-winning rubs and sauces to the American-made grills and smokers, Big Papa Smokers has everything you need to be a better outdoor cook. Of course, we all know that they have the championship rubs and seasonings, popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all proven winners on the competition scene and in the backyard. Also, owner of Granny's Barbecue Sauce. So if you're looking for a new go-to sauce that will please everybody's palate, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavor will remind us of why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. And aside from the premium selection of rubs and sauces, Big Papa Smokers offering the very best charcoal, pellet, and wood cookers available on the market today. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-star General Pellet Cooker. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. Not a fan of pellet smokers? No problem. Give them a call and ask what's right for you. 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. It's clear that Big Papa Smokers is the place to go for all things barbecue. Every product featured on their website has been hand-selected to help you barbecue better. Check the website, bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. We're back with Adrian Miller right after this. Stick around. You are listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show, presented by Oklahoma Joe's Smokers. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Thank you to Mark Williams from Swine Life BBQ for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase or to see what other products they have to add a little smoke flavor to whatever it is you're cooking. My next guest, known as the Soul Food Scholar, sits on the Names Nominating Committee for the BBQ Hall of Fame, a multiple-time author, an NAACP Image Award nominee, James Beard Award nominee, and award winner. We race to the Oklahoma Joe's Ryder DLX Pellet Grills hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Adrian Miller. Hey, Adrian.
Hey, what's going on? Good to be with you.
I am very excited to have you in the house, as it were, but not your house. You are traveling, so found that out yesterday as we were doing the sound check. So appreciate you still making time for the show. But what are you up to? Where are you traveling at?
So I'm in eastern North Carolina, went to the Tidewater area to find out about long grain rice, especially the Carolina Gold varieties and the Santee Gold varieties. And there's a company called Tidewater Grain Company that's reviving this. And then the only rice farmers in North Carolina. So it was cool to go out there and not only find out about their operation, but then also learn about the crabbing and oystering things that are happening out there. So it was good stuff, man.
Was Adrian Miller on a personal quest to find out more about rice?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
There's actually a really interesting history about this rice. So the story goes, it was a rice not from Asia, but from Madagascar. And there was a boat on the way to the Caribbean, got detoured somehow, and got stranded off the coast of Charleston. And this rice was then introduced into the North America. I think it was the course was originally going to be the Caribbean, but we know that a lot of enslaved Africans were brought to the U.S. in order to build up the rice industry and make it one of the most lucrative things at that time. I mean, the wealth amassed from rice is just amazing. So there's this indigenous rice in West Africa. So a lot of West Africans had agricultural knowledge about growing rice, and were brought here as enslaved people to build these rice industries. So a lot of interesting history there.
I have no knowledge on rice growing whatsoever other than what I've seen like in the Karate Kid movies. So is it like, what's it look like? Are there rice farms or is it like wet and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So imagine an immense field and you've got rows of rice plants and it's irrigated. They have some well water to irrigate it. I mean, it's a very impressive impressive system of pumping water out, getting that, and they've got it down to a science, and I mean that. I mean, they use drones, they've got computers going on. There's all kinds of interesting stuff happening with these rice fields. So it was interesting to see. Now we're at the beginning of the growing season, so I haven't seen rice when it's about to be harvested. So would like to check that out someday. But man, just you have to love what you're doing in order to get into this field. Let me just tell you.
From a flavor profile standpoint, is a gold rice much different than what we would find, like a normal white table rice of some sort?
I thought it had a little bit of a nutty flavor. It definitely had the yellowish color. Rice preparation that I had, we had a meal and it was creamy, but I think that had to do more with just the way it was prepared, maybe not so much with the rice itself. But yeah, I thought it tasted really good. And I'm not even a rice dude. I mean, I'll have rice, but it's not something I crave. But I thought this was tasty.
That seems counterintuitive to the soul food scholar that you wouldn't be a rice guy.
I know there's a lot of things counterintuitive to me. I mean, I'm a soul food scholar from Denver, Colorado. So, there's that.
Fair enough. Adrian Miller joining us here on the show. You can find his website, adrianemiller.com, if you want to see what he's up to and a little bit more background if you're not familiar. Adrian, Black Smoke has been nominated for a James Beard Award, something that you're used to, both nominations and the awards themselves. And I assume it lends yet another level of credibility amongst readers and your peers when you get the James Beard nominations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an honor just to get nominated. And I've got some stiff competition. But yeah, no, just making it, because there's so many books that come out and so many really great books. So to be one of those final 3 is awesome. So, I'm practicing 2 things right now. I'm practicing my acceptance speech, should I be lucky enough to win, and then my fake, oh, I'm so happy you won instead of me, look, in case I don't.
You're fake? How dare you? Well, this is a very rough place for me to be in now because I know 2/3 of the nominees. So I know you, obviously, good friend of the show, and you've lent a lot of credibility and insight to the show on many different levels. But then also I'm very good friends with Jeremy Umansky, who is the co-author of Koji Alchemy, and that book has seen an enormous amount of success in the fermentation, the Koji stuff, Koji rice, Adrian Miller with rice. So we got a little thing happening. I didn't even think we had that going on. I don't know who the third book is, but I mean, how do I pick who I want to win? This is where I say I hope everybody wins, but at least if it's not you, I hope it's Jeremy. If it's Jeremy, or you know what I'm saying. If it's
yeah,
I want you to win, but if it's not you, then Jeremy, and I want Jeremy to win, but if it's not him, I want you to win. We don't want that other person to win at all. Forget that. We say that with peace and love, of course.
Peace and love.
We don't.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Have you been taken aback by the success of the book? It seems to have generated a lot of conversation by a number of different folks within the industry with the subject matter, but then how much you brought to the table as far as information, background, and history. I don't want to say that people didn't care to know about it, but whether they wanted to or not, you were bringing it across in a real way.
Yeah, so that's why it was immensely satisfying because, when you're writing a book, you're isolated. You don't know if anybody's going to dig it, even though you do, right? And so you just hope that you do something that sheds light on a history. And I call myself a revivalist these days because it's not that I was telling stories that were never told before. And some of them were, but most of them were stories that were told 100, 200 years ago. But we lost that history. We stopped passing that history forward. So I was happy to bring that together and put it in a way that I thought was accessible and enjoyable. And so I've been really gratified by the reaction. I mean, people in the industry who I immensely respect have reached out to me and told me how much they enjoyed the book and have been on their social media saying, y'all need to check this book out. So that's been really cool.
I've had a number of authors on over the years. Getting one book out, certainly an effort. However, there does seem to be an inspiration or an accumulation of knowledge on a subject or two that might help that overall first book process to get written. But when you get into book 2 or book 3 and so on, does it become increasingly difficult to produce a book, or because you now have certain processes down, it actually becomes easier to a degree?
It becomes easier to a degree. And actually, I have a very interesting situation. So I don't have many strokes of genius, but I did have one when I was writing my first book on soul food. I just grabbed everything I could on African American food, regardless of what it was. So from that, I had plenty of information to start my president's book, which was my second book, and then I had a bunch of stuff on barbecue. So I had a good foundation. So it was a matter of just building on that. And so it took me less time to research and gather that info. And now I have a system, and I go into a book, kind of knowing the story I want to tell, but I'm guided by the research. So if the research leads me to another, I follow that. But I have an idea of the story I want to tell. And what I do is I write an outline, and I just go through the logic path and the thought process. And I'm like, okay, does this make sense? And then I follow some advice that very well-known writer John T. Edge gave me. He said, write the book you want to read. And that's really what has guided me.
Are you under a contract where you're supposed to produce X number of books within a defined period of time? Or do you just come up with a thing and say, hey, this is what's inspiring me now, and I'm going to go pitch it around to publishers and see who picks it up?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter. I mean, I wish I was one of those brothers with the multi-book deal, but I've never gotten that. But University of North Carolina Press has published my books, and they've been a great place for me. And they've always just said, hey, when you have an idea, just come to us and we can talk about it. So yeah, it's definitely the latter. I kind of go from place to place, just kind of given where my interests are.
Are you working on any other books at the moment?
Yeah, so right now I'm thinking about doing a history of African-American street vendors and talking about the ways that they shape the food scenes of a lot of our major cities. And I want to explore several things. I want to say, okay, this is what these people sold, and some of it reflects their African heritage. I want to talk about how they were entrepreneurs and how they demonstrated, a lot of business acumen that I think gets underappreciated. And then, talk about what did they represent from Africa, not only in terms of the foods or ingredients they introduced, but the way they dressed, how they did their street cries, and other things. So, and here's the really cool thing. I have the sheet music and the lyrics for a lot of these street cries from the 19th century. So I'm hoping to get a book deal where I can put out a compendium piece of music, hire some singers, because you don't want me singing. Hire some singers to do these street cries so we can know what it was like in like 1880s New Orleans to hear these people trying to get you to buy their stuff.
All right, so we're going to be looking forward to that as it comes out, and we'll see how that goes. As I'd mentioned in the open, you sit on the names committee for the BBQ Hall of Fame. Quick transition here. You've been a champion for diversity when it comes to the Hall of Fame ever since you've been on the names committee. For 4 years, the Hall has been using the show to announce the inductees here, which I'm happy to have. How happy are you with the BBQ Hall of Fame's progress to date?
Oh, I'm immensely happy because it's not just been me, right? So the thing that's been really cool is there are other people on the committee who are like-minded, and they're interested in diversity as well. So I think we've made a lot of progress. I just look back, even with just what we've done in the last 3 years, I think has been really cool, especially getting Desiree Robinson last year as the first African-American woman, and getting people that should have been in there a long time ago, like Arthur Bryant and Ollie Gates. I think that's been really cool. And then I'm really excited, and I know we're going to talk about this more, with the Impact Award this year to celebrate unsung Black barbecue cooks.
So the Impact Award itself, Emily Park had mentioned that as we were teasing out the final 9 lists before the actual 4 were nominated in the Living Hall of Fame side of things. And it was, kind of billed as something that you're not in the Hall of Fame, but it's something where we feel that a group of people or some section of something is needed to be rewarded for some portion or impact that they're making to the live fire community, though not Hall of Fame-ish. So are you allowed to say like whose idea this was, or was this like a group effort of somebody brought it up and they're like, oh yeah, let's all get on board with this? How does that come to fruition?
Yeah, so I think the very first person who mentioned it to me is Jim Shaheen, who used to run the smoke signals column in the Washington Post.
Yeah,
and he mentioned that idea. And then Robert Moss separately, and then maybe he talked to Jim as well, but he mentioned it as well. And I thought, yeah, we got to do this. And so I think it was more than a year, we were just trying to figure out how to do that. So we were looking at what other halls of fame do, and I think we came up with a good process in this case. So it was definitely a collaborative effort, but not my idea initially, but I was definitely on board with it because I was more focused on recognizing people we knew about first, and getting those in the pipeline. But I think this is a good celebration of so many cooks who helped shape barbecue. We just don't know their names.
I was going to say, let's talk about the unsung black barbecue cooks. What is that? What? I guess I have a problem with it, but I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the Impact Award and them getting it, but the way I first thought of it was like, wow, this appears to be really lazy. Let's say unsung black barbecue. Boom. Okay, now guess what? We're done. We're out. Okay, we did it. Good for us. Pat on the back. To me, it smacked of being a little bit lazy, but why am I wrong with that thought?
Well, I don't think so, because first of all, it's a very large group. And we thought about the wordsmithing a bit because we could have said the unknown black barbecue cooks, right? But I wanted to mention those people who have been named. We didn't get their full name all the time, but we got some name. And these folks were maybe recognized in their time, but again, they weren't really put into historical context throughout time. So we've just lost these names. So I think that we're not washing our hands of anything, because we're going to continue the work of recognizing people today. But I think it was really like, how are you ever going to really recognize those people from the 19th century? Because other than nerds, nerds like me, dudes like you, we're not going to know about these people. And so they would never get nominated. They would never make a vote because people just don't know about them. So this was a way to really honor those folks. And when we get to the ceremony, we're going to figure out a way to really bring life to this. But it's really like, if we didn't do this, I don't know how else these people would be recognized.
There's one person in particular that I want to pick your brain on, Dr. Howard Conyers, down in South Carolina, well-known whole hog cook through generations of his family, and something that he's really passionate about carrying on, but also a huge proponent and attention drawer to making sure that African Americans aren't left out of the history of barbecue. And I don't know, I'm certainly not going to speak for him, but I certainly believe that he feels there's been a big whitewashing of how important the black barbecue cook has been, and the white barbecue cook taking credit or being in the forefront of how barbecue looks at this point. So much so that he has decided to start, it's his initiative, the Black Barbecue Hall of Fame. Kingsford is supporting him to some degree through that, and they do the Pitmasters program with him as well. Mm-hmm. So your thoughts on that? Like, are you familiar with the Black Barbecue Hall of Fame, and your thoughts on it as something that's coming up being a new Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so, Howard is doing very important work to identify and celebrate these pitmasters who haven't been in the past. And so I think it's a good thing. I think the more attention we can bring to these African-American cooks in whatever way, it's going to be a good thing, because I agree with Howard. It's been black pitmasters have either been pushed to the sidelines or just left out completely of a lot of barbecue storytelling recently. And I think it has been whitewashed, because I think there's been a repivoting to think of barbecue as the thing that primarily white dudes do, instead of looking at the beautiful wide world of barbecue. So yeah, no, I applaud what Howard is doing and in his own way. And I know he's been releasing names on social media. So I just think it's great that we're drawing more attention to these African-American barbecue cooks.
So let's talk about halls of fame here. Can there be too many halls of fame? At some point, is there a dilution of worth or importance when there's now a influx or a veritable cornucopia of halls of fame?
Yeah, I think that's possible. We may have already hit that already, because there are numerous halls of fame at the state level. So I know, like, there's one in North Carolina. I think there's one in Texas,
Oklahoma,
and there may be other ones. So we may have reached that point, but it just seems to me that especially with the American Royal Barbecue Hall of Fame, just the media machine behind it and stuff, I think the reach has been really strong. And so that's why I've chosen to put my energy in this one. But hey, as long as I think they have a good process and they're celebrating great barbecue cooks, hey, I think we have a large barbecue tent.
We have taken away from the rice junket enough. Adrian Miller, a James Beard nominee for the book Black Smoke, so we'll see how that works out. We wish him the best, and always appreciate the time you give to the show, Adrian. Continued success, my friend.
Hey, thank you for inviting me, man. Good to see you. Peace.
You got it. There he is, Adrian Miller right there.
All guests appear via the Oklahoma Joe's Rider Deluxe Pellet Grills hotline.
And if you haven't read the book, get the book. Read it and see why everybody was talking about it and giving it rave reviews and why the James Beard Committee has also nominated that. Along with my other pal, Jeremy Yamansky from Larder Delicatessen right here on the Near West Side with Koji Alchemy. Rice! Of course Adrian was thinking, I got to know more about this rice. Love it. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for high-heat grilling. What you can't get is real, true two-zone cooking on round cookers because they're round. Enter Primo Grills, the game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute a two-zone setup that you desire. Gives you 60 different ways to configure that thing. And you have accessories, so you can spend all your money there after you spend all your money on the cooker. Primo Grill rotisserie, Primo Grill pizza accessory, Primo Grill half drip tray, Primo Grill rib rack. The list goes on. Only sold through dealers, so find one near you, primogrill.com. The bottom line is this: best ceramics in the biz, patented technology, true two-zone cooking capabilities, multiple sizes, all yes. And if you have to have a round one, they have those too. But really, consider the oval for Pete's sake. Again, primogrill.com, the website. Find a dealer near you. Check it out. Find the size that's right for you because they have many different sizes. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram while you're at it. Who's ready for a Primo? I'm ready for a Primo. Here we go. We're back to wrap the first hour. Right after this, stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show, presented by the Rider Deluxe Pellet Grills from Oklahoma Joe's. Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Thanks again to Adrian Miller for joining me last segment. AdrianMiller.com, his website. The segment brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring. Or connect via Bluetooth if you have Alexa or the Google Assistant at home. You're in luck. Fireboard fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. That's Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive, Fireboard 2 Pro for the high heat stuff, and the Fireboard Spark, which is an instant read meat thermometer and a one-channel Fireboard. How about that? Once again, Adrian Miller's website, AdrianEMiller.com. You can buy all of his books, now totaling 3 right now. The Soul Food book, the President's book, and now Black Smoke. And he's up for another James Beard Award. He is nominated for the book. So go ahead and give it a read if you haven't checked it out yet, or maybe you're looking to give Father's Day gift ideas, or if you're looking to get a Father's Day gift and you like to read about the history of barbecue, definitely ask for that. Somebody will give you exactly what you want if you ask for that. Or if you have a dad that's into barbecue or grilling, do that. Why not? I'm just fascinated that there's rice junkets. I didn't get an invite to the rice junket down in South Carolina to be hanging out with Adrian Miller. Can you imagine Adrian Miller and myself teaming up on this very Tuesday night, June 7th, and doing a show live from somewhere in South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever he was, where we were featuring the expert in gold rice, yellow rice? It was gold or yellow rice. I forget which one it was. Come on. That would have been the best Barbecue Central show ever on June 7th, 2022. But here we are in Bomb City, USA instead.
Bomb City, USA. Cleveland.
What he said. All right, we are pointing to the second hour. We have a great guest for you, as you know. Sam the Cooking Guy. We'll tell you more about him after we get back from the break. If you would like to drop in a email or hit me up on the socials, you can do that. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, at BBQ Central Show on all the other social media channels. And if you want a chance to play what does Sam like best? Get over on Clubhouse now because that's where we will pick you up. Refresh libations, and we will be back in just a few short minutes. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet 4 wieners. So listen, Lavernius, shake your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. It's the Barbecue Central Show. We talk about live fire, barbecue, and grilling topics live on the show every Tuesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. We're also recording audibly for podcast release a little bit later this evening, hour number 1. Hour number 2 on Thursday. I'll tell you about Friday here in just 1 second. Wonder J is watching via Twitch, the most consistent live stream. Not the most trafficked, but the most consistent, technically sound live stream out of the 3 that we run. I'll tell you about those here in just 1 second. So if you miss what's happening now, the show goes audio podcast, hour 1 tomorrow, hour 2 Thursday. You can follow up. Still to come on the show this evening, the venerable Sam the Cooking Guy with almost 4 million YouTube subscribers to his cooking channel. Is it 4 million? I'll have to look it up here and just wait. I might have. Yeah, short yet, but almost 4,000. I'm sorry, 4,000. 4 million YouTube subscribers to his channel. Don't forget you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and the most popular social media channel as far as growth is concerned, TikTok, at BBQ Central Show. I posted a video on the TikTokers with Oklahoma Joe last week, and, let's not even guess at this point because this is my only visibility at what the kids call viral. I wouldn't call it viral myself. Viral to me means well into the hundreds of thousands of views, but this particular one where we talked about his recollection of the pellet cooker market was back in mid-'80s has almost 29,000 views. It's got 28,900 views, and just in the last 8 hours, I've gotten 8 new followers. I had 1,000 followers when the post went up last week, and I have just shy of 1,300 followers, so it's been great. Wonder J, this is a live show. Oh, do I grill on the show? No. This is not.
Andrew, you are not the fire.
This is not a cooking show. I can cook, Wonder J. I know how to cook. I'm actually a fairly accomplished backyard warrior cook. I have no interest in what I would say competition. But I love talking to people that love doing it. I had Mark Williams on in the first hour in case you missed it. But you're not going to find any live cooking on the show. So I save the cooking to the pros, like my guest in about 10 minutes from now, Sam the Cooking Guy, who, by the way, is full-blown live fire cook right now. Last week, he was cooking on a Nomad travel grill. So whether he's going to admit it or not, and he's not going to admit it, the Sam the Cooking Guy YouTube channel, whatever the name of that thing is should be called the Barbecue and Grilling Guy Cooking Channel. because that's all he's using. He uses the new Traeger. He uses the Evo flat top. That's a live fire cooking appliance. It's outside. He uses the grill all the time. Only people that are live fire cooks are using Nomad grills. Nobody else is using that. Yes, the Nomad travel grill is the briefcase looking thing. So Sam is a full-blown live fire YouTube channel, whether he knows it or not, and perhaps the most successful live fire one at that, with approaching 4 million YouTube subscribers. Don't forget, we're also streaming live on Clubhouse for audio. So if you want to take part in the What Does Sam Like Best game show for your chance to win a free prize of high value, you can do that. You can also get live video feeds of the show over on Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show, where Wonder J's taking in the show, and on the YouTubers /RD Rempy, which is where a number of other of yous are taking part in the chat and watching the show. So do any of those ways if you would like. If you're just a podcast listener and you don't like the reads, you can get an ad-free podcast feed experience through Apple Podcasts by subscribing to the ad-free portion. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 232 is approaching, taking you back to August 5th, 2012, featuring who? Second Tuesday of the month, a regular guest, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. If you are a fan of the Barbecue Central Show, a longtime fan, a longtime listener, and you know the history of the show, then you know that one of the most talked about segments was with Meathead and myself arguing over the terms barbecue and grilling. It actually took 2 separate segments on the show back in the day. One where there was just a stern disagreement between us. I was right, Meathead was wrong. Then a number of years later, we revisited, which is what we did there in August of 2012, which you will hear this coming Friday. Again, this isn't the original segment where we butted heads, but this one is where we revisit. At the time, Meathead was worried about me not representing his side of the argument properly. I guess there was a stretch of time where I was telling people, Meathead thinks this, I think this. He was worried that I wasn't setting the stage correctly on his part. Meathead's always worried that somebody else is not shining the best light in his direction or not selling his side of it better than he could. So he was worried about that. So we got into it again to clear everything back up. And it's pretty great even 10 years later hearing this conversation. Don't forget, if you want to hear a previous guest or segment that you've heard on the show already, and maybe it's been lost in the archives, or you're just new to the show and you've heard somebody talk about something that you want to hear, email John and let him know what you would like to hear. JON@thebbqcentralshow.com, and he will do his best to meet your expectation as far as a best of show is concerned. Once again, that email address is JON@thebbqcentralshow.com, and he will take it from there. So send in your requests or just tell John what a great job he's doing, because I know he's doing a great job. I listen to these shows all in advance, and each one better than the next. And John has become really, really good at hooking at the end. He puts together a good enough show where within 8 minutes, I forget that I'm listening to something that is going to end in 10 minutes or less. And he always gets you to the part where somebody's asking a question or somebody's going to answer a question, and then the noise comes in, and you realize, oh, I got to go back and listen to the whole thing now, which is great. That's the idea, pushing older downloads of, or pushing more downloads of older shows. This show was 10 years ago almost, August 5th, 2012. So, and by the way, the show was now then 4 years old. I mean, we started the live show in 2008, so this was already a well-established show back in 2012, let alone 10 years past that, where we are in 2022. Upcoming shows in June include who? John Marcus next week. That's right. We'll talk about his run into the BBQ Hall of Fame a couple weeks ago. Also scheduling Leanne Whippen, also Zach Mirren, will be joining us. Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly, and of course the finale of Season 3 of Barbecue Central Show's American Idol, which I'm sure many of you are counting those days down. But why would you? The finals is the best part because what happens in the finals? There's going to be a produced duet with Rusty and myself. We have already decided on the song. I'm not really on board with the song per se, but I gave Rusty choice. He gave me choice A. I immediately shot it down as ridiculous. He gave me choice B, also ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as choice A. So we're going to run with that one. And then, of course, we sing live for you. Live.
We'll do it live.
We will sing live right here on the show on that last Tuesday of the month, the fourth Tuesday of the month in the second hour. And then the voting starts, and we'll see where it goes from there. Podcasting note, by the way, if you're somebody that has been using Facebook to listen to this show in podcast form, as of last Friday, June 3rd, Facebook stopped creators from adding podcasts to the service. They don't plan to communicate the closure to any Facebook user, so we're already a few days late. Facebook was responsible for just 0.3% of all podcast downloads last month. It's reached 0.5% in February, making it the 17th largest podcast app, which I think means every other podcast app was ahead of Facebook. But just in case you were using Facebook as your podcast aggregator, you can't do that anymore. That stopped on Friday. So if you're wondering where the show is tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, get on your native podcast app or download Spotify or Amazon Music. I'm on there, Stitcher, you name it. I'm on all the podcast apps. That's all you need to know. Here's something else you need to know. Who's sick of being fat? I am. But I need help. I know I'm sick of being fat, but I'm not holding myself accountable. I need somebody to hold me accountable because I did so well for 5 years. Then my back hurt and I fell off the train. And guess what? Fat. Fat! Fat! I'm going to go to davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up and get a deal because we all love deals. Centralites love deals. And I'm finally going to be held accountable to stop being fat and get in shape again, where my resting heart rate was in the mid to high 40s. That's right. Elite athlete type shit. I have finally come to the realization that I'm not eating great. I'm not sleeping great. I'm not making great decisions when I'm out at the restaurant. And my activity level has not been where it has been over the last 4 or 5 years. So I've put on some pounds. I'm a little jiggly in places. Look, I mean, I'm not as fat as some of you people. But for me, I am not liking it. So I will go to davidleans.com. I will spend $200 of my dollars every month. And I will be able to text David and say, hey, what decision should I be making? Or here's the plan. Or here's what I want to lose. And then he's going to hold me accountable. And then we're going to revisit every week. So, I hope to be back to my chiseled hot self by the end of the year and then carry that back into 2023. You can do it too. Let's do it together. davidleans.com/BBQ.com to sign up for the special deal of $200 a month. And if you don't like your results, as long as you're making the effort, you get the money back. It's great. davidleans.com/BBQ. That's davidleans.com/BBQ. Stop being fat with me. Let's be unfat together. davidleans.com/BBQ. We're back with Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show, presented by the Ryder Deluxe Pellet Grills from Oklahoma Joe's. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
This portion being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. to complete the pit barrel cooking experience. Whether you are a beginner or you are a professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal, visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central show sent you. My next guest is a YouTube cooking sensation with over 3.25, maybe 3.5 million subscribers that eagerly watch his cooking videos 3 days per week. He has won many Emmys. He has told Hoda Kotb and Kathy Lee Gifford to shut up already.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Actually, if I may quote, pay attention 1 minute, and is a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer. We race to the Oklahoma Joe's Ryder DLX Barbecue Pits Hotline. And welcome back to the show, Sam the Cooking Guy. Hey, Sam.
You know, it's been, it feels like it's been forever since I've been here. This feels very good.
You missed last month
Very good.
because you were well out of country, as we say.
I was out of
And
country.
a month later, here we are. So technically it's been like 2 months. So you
2
were
months
on
and
in
feel
May.
good. Though,
April,
just
April.
so the audience and the listeners understand.
Yes.
Just because I'm not on the show doesn't mean you and I are not talking up a storm.
Well, there was a email from a 14-year-old that came in a couple weeks after you did not appear last month. I think his name was Braden, and he said, hey, I'm 14. I've been listening to the show for 6 years, so I think that's like 8 years old. I'm not even sure how you get turned on to the show.
14, that's like 48 dog years.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, this guy's obviously what we would call this kid's obviously what we would call an old soul to a certain degree. And he said, hey, Sam wasn't on this the first Tuesday of the month, and I'm wondering if that's over with. Like, is he never coming back again? And I was like, wow, like you don't show up one time. And
thank you, Braden.
It's like, wow.
Round of applause for Braden. Thank you for staying on top of me. Greg
No
didn't
doubt.
want me last month. I couldn't be here. He didn't. He said, "No, bro, you're not coming."
That's right. That's right. I said, you know what? Enough of this guy. Let's take a month off of Sam the Cooking Guy because he's getting too big in the live fire community. So I had to take it down a few notches. I hate to do that, but now that I feel you've hovered back into your rightful place, we'll bring you back
now
in.
I'm fine. Now I'm ripe for the audience again.
That's right.
Thank you, Braden. Tonight's appearance by me is dedicated to Braden.
That's right. Sam's appearance brought to you by Braden from wherever he was, a 14-year-old who's obviously probably a huge fan of yours.
By the way, I'll just say this: if Braden writes you,
yes,
at Greg at barbecuecentralshow.com, is that what it is?
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know how I write you. I just put you in my phone.
Right.
I will send Braden a copy of Sam the Cooking Guy, Between the Buns.
No way.
I will.
This book?
That book.
Wow. Look at that.
Ridiculous cover book.
How about that? We're going to talk about that here in just a second.
So Braden writes you.
Yes.
You'll write me.
Yes.
I'll send a hand-inscribed notes.
Wow.
Autograph book to young Braden.
Well, usually fans... Because what?
Because at 14, that's when they should start cooking.
Yeah.
And I hope Braden is not just watching, but also cooking because, cooking for adults is not like it was in the old days. I don't know, the 50s, the 60s, when you learned that stuff. I don't know. Well, look, we're parents. We teach our children how to reconcile a bank account, how to open a bank account, how to be responsible for it, how to vote, how to be good, responsible citizens of our community, do the right thing, that kind of stuff. I don't know that we're always teaching them how to cook. And the goal, though, is that we send them away, hopefully, somewhere around their 18, 19, 20 years old, to be productive citizens that can stand on their own in society. And cooking is an important part of that because if we don't teach them that, what do they got? They're at the liberty of fast food, frozen food, or restaurants. And that shit's expensive, man. And not necessarily always good for you.
And you're missing out on a life skill. If you talk about reconciling checkbooks or how to be a productive and satisfactory citizen, I mean,
we've taught them how to ride a bike. We've taught them how to drive a car.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we teach them this? What do you need? What do you need in life to exist? You need water, you need sleep, and you need food.
Yeah.
Almost nothing. You don't need to know how to ride a bike or drive a car.
Right.
So if cooking and feeding yourself is one of the third most important things you need, because I don't think you can exist without water. I don't think you can exist without sleep. What the hell is going on?
We're going to play What Does Sam Like Best as soon as we get somebody to pick up their invite here in Clubhouse. So stand by for that, because I have 5 questions that might be the best 5 questions that I have ever brought up. So we'll see what happens here. We're inviting people on stage.
Okay.
All right. Oh, okay, here we go. Are you ready to go?
Dude.
Always?
Born ready to go.
All right. Well, it's everybody's favorite time. First Tuesday of the month in the second hour. It's What Does Sam Like Best?
It's the voice. The second hour.
The second hour of about.
I love that. I love that.
We're going to move Joe to the audience, and we're going to pick up Johnny Maggs, John McGuire. Hey, Johnny. He's not there. John, are you on mute?
Way to go. Clubhouse.
Unmute yourself. You there? No. I can see him. He's right there.
Can we just question the platform in general, please?
I guess.
I have not bought into it. I don't get it. I don't
Joe, are you there?
Oh, God. How about somebody else? I mean,
wow. I just said Joe, right? Joe.
Or go to some other platform. All the
wait. Somebody's there. Who's there? Somebody's there. John, you there?
You don't know who's there?
Well, I have Joe and John up.
It's like we're at a fucking seance. I feel the spirit of Joe, of John.
Well, I mean, I can see the board here, but I don't see. You know what? Let's do this. Let me copy this.
It's a shitty platform. Just admit it.
Well, I mean, shitty or not is irrelevant. It's the way that I play.
It's not irrelevant. It's completely relevant because it's not working for you.
Yeah, but what can I do?
I don't know. Go to somebody else. Go to Doug Scheiding. He's probably out there listening, making burgers. Doug Scheiding is in like week 847 of his burger experiment.
He is?
Doug Scheiding makes a burger like every 17 minutes, I think is what.
Well, did you hear hold on. Let me see if anybody's here. John, are you there? Joe, are you there? Hello?
Is the ghost of John or Joe
anybody?
There? No, John, nobody's there because it doesn't work.
There. Doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I'm ending the room. There, I've just ended the room. Now,
jeez,
I'm going to do something totally different.
Radical?
Yeah. I'm going to start a new room.
Get your wife in here to answer these questions.
Yeah, I should, but then you're going to send the prize to me?
I'll send it. I'll make something and send it there.
You know, there's nothing more.
You already got the book.
There's really nothing more embarrassing than seeing people come in to the room and then playing the intro and then nobody's there. Johnny or Joe, you there?
Oh, fuck. Good Lord, man. Give it up.
I don't. I mean,
did you not just say you ended the room?
I did, but then I started a new room.
If you're, oh God, it doesn't work.
Guys, anybody there? Anybody? Johnny Maggs?
No, nobody's there.
Robert Salazar?
The system is broken.
Wow.
Pick anybody else. Do somebody that's chatting. They don't have to be.
I can't. But I can't. How can I pick somebody else? Like they're in my room. They're in my room. I've picked everybody that's in the room, and I have no audio. So now I got to re-end the room again. Yes. Now, how about this? Let's just go into somebody else's room and see if audio shows up. Why not?
Ahead.
Let's hear.
My audio works.
Can you hear them talking?
I'm using a proper system here.
Oh wait, I might have fucked up.
Oh no, is it you? Did you F up?
No, I'm right.
King of the audio.
No, I'm right. No, all my audio settings are right. Well, this is
great for the audience.
This is unfortunate. You know what? I hate to say this. It's terrible. I can't even get anybody to play this game, and I got all these great questions. I have no way for anybody to get in touch with me at this point.
I'm sure fucking Walchef is on here. He lives on this shit.
But what does it matter if he's on here and I can't hear him? Then it doesn't matter because the
platform.
Right. The platform doesn't work.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain speaking. Just here to tell you that the clubhouse is broken and doesn't work.
Such
Oh my God.
So annoying.
Can I tell you what I've been binging lately?
Yeah.
An old TV show called Airline. Do you know what it is?
No. I thought that was the one with the lady from Big Bang, but that's something else. That's like stewardess or some shit.
Airline was a real live, on the spot show about Southwest Airlines.
All right.
At different airports around the country. And real shit that they would go through. The power blackouts, people missing their planes, people being drunk and wanting to get on planes. I'm going to say this. I've said it before. They do not pay teachers enough, cops enough, firemen enough, people in the military enough. And then the flight personnel. The shit that they take from passengers. You want to see the worst of America? Watch Airline. I cannot stop watching. And I'm hate watching it because of the people.
No.
It's so bad. People are such shitheads. They really are. They're
all right, here we go. Ready, Sam?
So you found somebody?
Robert, are you there?
Hello?
Oh, look at this. We've done it.
There we go. There we go.
My God. I mean, I don't know what the hell I did, but whatever.
17 tries later, we finally connect
All right,
you.
Sam, pipe down. You're going to be out next month. All right, so we're going to learn about what does Sam like best, since Clubhouse is now working again, I guess.
Can we learn about Robert?
Don't hold your breath about how much we're going to get through here, but before we do that, let's learn about Robert. Robert, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Not too much, though.
Hi, Greg. I'm an agriculture science teacher down here in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Teachers.
We love that.
What ages, Robert?
All of high school. So 9 through 12.
Good Lord, man.
Good.
So you have a drinking problem.
People with a problem go to meetings. So.
That's right. He's just a drunk, Sam. That's right. Robert is just a drunk.
I already said, I don't think you pay teachers enough. And thank you for what you do.
That's right.
No,
thank you for your service, Robert, just like a military man.
It's different, but I do think
all right.
teachers...
Okay, enough of this. Let's go on to the goddamn game. Robert, are you familiar with what does Sam like best?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you know you got to get 3 out of 5.
I'm a previous winner. I don't know if that affects anything or not.
Oh, that's all right.
What the...
Okay, cool.
That's all right. No worries.
Good work there, Greg.
We appreciate it.
Here we go. Question number 1, Robert. What does Sam like best? Best 3 out of 5. Of the 2 destinations, which one does Sam like best? Dubai or Singapore?
Love the way you say that, by the way.
I'm going to go with Singapore.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right. I asked Robert, of the 2 destinations, which one does Sam like best? Dubai or Singapore? Sam, what say?
No question. Singapore. Singapore.
All right.
A little slow on the beat there, Greg.
Well, I forgot what he said, so I just took a stab at it. Luckily, I got it right. Next question.
Nothing's working tonight. This is the kind of show that I like.
That's right. Off the rails, right off the bat.
Like. Exactly.
Question number 2, Robert. When it comes to searing a steak, which method does Sam like best? Cast iron pan or on a grill grate directly over screaming hot charcoals?
Interesting question. Very good. You're right. You did good this week.
That's right.
This month.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with a cast iron.
Cast iron. All right. Interesting. I wouldn't have picked that myself, but that's all right.
Oh, boy.
Sam, you prefer to sear cast iron or over screaming hot charcoals?
Do you want to give him another chance to reconfigure his
I sure
answer?
don't. Final answer is final.
Well, perhaps today's episode that we shot that will air, I don't know, sometime next week will be an indication. Cast iron.
Cast iron. Oh,
right.
Okay.
We did it. We did I reverse seared a 3-pound tomahawk. The giant effing
God, 3 pounds. Come on, it's a roast.
And then is almost roast. And then we seared it in the cast iron pan. But because the bone was so big, if you put it in a cast iron pan, part of the steak is not going to hit the deck because of that angle. So I put my cast iron pan upside down on my grill. Got it screaming hot, and then did it that way.
Wow.
And it was great.
Look at you.
Oh, my God.
Good for you. All right, Robert. Here's the good news. You have 2 in a row. Here's the bad news. This is the ever-tricky question number 3, which everybody gets wrong 100% of the time, ultimately.
Please get it wrong. Make this a more fun
That's
game,
right.
Robert.
Ultimately leading to what usually ends up stretching out to question number 5, and here we go.
Yes, please.
Question number 3. Robert, if Sam the Cooking Guy... if Sam the Cooking Guy's YouTube had to dump one of the producers to stay afloat, which one does Sam like best to keep? Max or part-time Chance?
I'm going to say Max.
Just because he's a son, you think that's a safe bet?
Wait. Rephrase the question. The question was, who would I dump?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, who would you dump?
Right.
Okay.
Who would I dump? That's what I heard, and sorry, you're wrong. We dumped Chance.
Wait. Sam, I asked Robert,
didn't want to give him a
who
chance
would
to-
you dump? Max or Chance?
Chance.
No,
too
you said
late,
Max.
bro. You said Max. We all heard that.
Wow, look at
I
this.
don't
Question
know how
number
that
3.
was a tricky third question.
He's
my flesh and blood.
What do you mean? He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. It was obviously the hardest question ever. I don't
Okay,
know.
wait,
It was a long
Robert.
day.
You know that Max is my son?
He does.
Yes. Yes. No,
He got
I
ahead
got a
of him.
little
He got
slip up
over
there.
his skis, Sam. He got over his
He did get
skis.
over his skis.
Got a little
All right, good.
excited.
Now
He's
we
like,
got a
hey,
game.
I thought
Up
I'm
to
going
now it was bullshit. Now
right.
we've got something.
Now we have a game.
Here we
That's
go.
right.
We have a game.
He was going to be like, hey, I'm the first guy ever to run.
Yes.
What does Sam like best 3 in a row? But look at that.
Here we go.
Go too
Here we
fast, you
go.
get burned.
Whoa.
Here we go. Question number
I
4.
might lie on this next one just to F him up even more.
You do have 2 to piss away here, though, Robert. So don't feel bad if you get
he
this
only
one
has
wrong.
1 to piss away.
Well, okay. Between
100%.
the 2 morning shows, which one does Sam like best?
That's a good question.
Good Morning America
Good
or
question.
the Today Show? Which one does Sam like best?
Good Morning America.
Final answer?
Yes.
All right. Sam, you
Wait,
like
can we
the
ask him
Good
why
Morning
he says
Americas
that?
or do you
Wait,
like the
wait.
Today's shows?
Can we add a part B to this question?
I mean, it's my show, but okay, go
Why
ahead.
does Robert? I just want to know why Robert came up with Good Morning America.
Robert, explain yourself. You're a teacher.
If I remember correctly, you were on it more recently. It's my method to the madness on that one.
So Robert is saying you like GMA better because it's your most recent love.
Yeah, he's right.
That's it?
Nice.
That's it.
Oh.
He won.
Wow-wee.
All right.
Look at that. Well,
He won. I
Robert?
By the way, I would like with his reasoning.
Yeah.
I would like him to be teaching my kids if I had kids at the high school age level.
I have to say,
I was going to make a comment really quick if y'all are all right with it. Y'all mentioned about teaching kids how to cook. We actually have a competitive cooking team, or we have a competitive cooking contest here in Texas. And so where the high school kids get to compete like a extracurricular event. So
I'd
not
like
too
that.
shabby.
So
No,
instead
it's
of
not too shabby. No, I like
varsity
that. That's cool.
instead of varsity basketball or soccer, they're competing in cooking.
Yes, sir. Barbecue cook-offs. Yes, sir.
Wow, we don't,
So, well, yeah,
sir.
not too shabby.
Sir is my
Of course,
father.
barbecue.
Don't call me sir,
Of
Robert.
course, barbecue. I said that to somebody today. Somebody called me sir today, and I said, no, that's my father.
Yeah, sir's my father.
There you go.
All right, so Robert, all you have to do is send me an email, greg@thebbqcentralshow.com, and put winner in the subject line. And with a shipping address, I'll forward that over to Sam, and then he will send you some kind of prize worth some kind of value. How about that?
Hold up the
Awesome,
book. I'll
guys.
send him a
Appreciate it.
copy of. Do you have a copy of the book, Robert? Hold up the book for.
I do
have
not
it?
yet. No.
Well,
It's on
you
my,
will soon enough. By the way,
on
thanks
the
for being a
Christmas
great fan and buying it early. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I will take care of that, though, and we'll send you a copy of that.
All right.
It
How
was on
about
my do
that?
it tomorrow list. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, he was gonna do it tomorrow. Of course,
Yeah,
of course he was. Yeah, very good. All right.
He's a teacher. I can't knock him.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks a lot,
listen
guys.
to
Appreciate it.
Here's what we do. We take our children, we do our best with them, and then we hand them off to teachers and hope, expect, and pray and want them to do all the right things with them. And most of them do. Some of them are, assholes, but teachers like Robert are doing the right thing.
Yeah,
they're bringing up our children during the day when we're not. So
I'm just trying to figure out, Robert. Robert, are you still there? Okay. I think I figured out what the issue was. I'm not sure why it's an issue, but I figured out where the issue was. Now let me try it again. Robert, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I've troubleshot my own stuff here, so we're winning all over the place here, Robert. We're winning all over the place.
No, you're winning.
Right,
Whose
so
fault was it? Was it your
send
fault?
me by winning. I mean losing at a very rapid rate right off the top of the show.
Thank
But there you go. So all right, Robert, send me that email, and we will go ahead and Sam will go ahead and get you out a prize. And we hope you have a great Father's Day if you're a father. And thank you for playing the ever popular, widely sweeping the nation, nay, globe. What does Sam like best? And from everybody here at the What Does Sam Like Best game show, we bid you farewell. All right. Sam, can you hang out for another segment?
I'm here for you, bud. Come on. I haven't seen you. Well, I haven't seen you for 2 months.
I know. So now we got to play catch up. So stand by. We'll play catch up here in just 1 second. And I will talk to everybody else about the Green Mountain Grills. I'm going to figure out what the hell is wrong. It's still on there. That's weird. Choice line and prime line. So here we go. If you're somebody that likes to save a few bucks, you don't need all the technology that's on cookers these days, the choice line is the one that you're going to want to consider. Great cooking capacity, just not all the stuff, the bells, the whistles, the extra cash. Now, conversely, if you're somebody that likes Wi-Fi, you like to mess around with cookers on an app, you want internal meat probes, you want a more robust build on the chassis, now the prime line is where you want to go, a peak and a ledge size for that. If you are somebody that prefers a pellet cooker that is ultra portable, then you want to look at the Trek line. This one can fit in the back of trucks and vans and SUVs. Gives you that wood-fired flavor and fuel that you're looking for. You're not sacrificing a tremendous amount of capacity for portability. Only sold through dealers, of course, greenmountaingrills.com. Find a dealer near you. Visit the dealer. Get educated. Buy the one that best fits your needs. And make sure that, A, they're carrying the pizza oven insert, and if they are, pick one of those up as well. It fits in both the choice and the prime line cookers, the Peak, the Ledge, and the Daniel Boone. Either way, you're going to be very happy with the Green Mountain Grill. That's greenmountaingrills.com, greenmountaingrills.com, and we are back with more Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show, presented by the Ryder Deluxe Pellet Grills from Oklahoma Joe's. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Well, we congratulate Robert Salazar for winning What Does Sam Like Best this past segment through some technical hurdles. Head on over to Smithfield.com right now for recipes as well as tips and tricks from well-known live-fire cooks like Darren Worth, Jess Pryles, Charles Cridlin. Mouth-watering flavor and no artificial ingredients. Smithfield Fresh Pork is quite simply some of the finest pork money can buy, the trusted choice of top cooks for use at competitions and at home. And we welcome back Sam, the cooking guy here. All right, Sam, so last month you were out of pocket, as it were, as Braden so eloquently pointed out to me.
Absolutely.
And you were out of the country. So
yes, sir.
Where did you go, and what was the trip about?
We went to Dubai first and then Singapore. Max, my oldest, that shoots and edits most of our stuff. We also have Chance, who is actually not part-time. He's a full-time employee. Not part-time, full-time. Full-time Chance. Last year would have been our 10th year on YouTube. And Max said, we should do something. And then COVID got in the way, and so we did it this year. And I said, what do you want to do? And he goes, he'd been in Dubai for like just a couple of days before. He goes, I want to go to Dubai. And he goes, and it's in the part of the world that you want to go to because you want to go to Singapore. And I've always wanted to go to Singapore, mostly for the food. But what I found in Singapore was one of the most beautiful countries, cities, island nations. I mean, it's just an amazing place. I'm not a religious man, but I've said many times since I've come back, it's like God built an amazing, beautiful garden. And then somebody said, let's figure out a way to put a city in and around this. It is so green. It is so lush. The buildings have just taken this greenery concept into everything they've done, into greenery on the balconies and up the ledges. I mean, it's really a beautiful city. And the food halls that we know in this country are called hawker centers, Hawkers over there. And instead of there being, not tacos and hamburgers is in a 6-restaurant food hall. We have a couple here in San Diego that are, 15, 20, 30. In Singapore, they can be 50, 60, or 70 restaurants. What? Bigger. And they're all tiny. And the food is unbelievably fantastic. And everything's different and everything's great. And they're mostly family run. And there's a real concern that the older generation that really spends time running them is they're getting older and they're dying. They're aging out and they're dying off. And the food is so good, and what you can get for $3, $4, $5, $6 is honestly, it's kind of mind blowing, Greg. And so
it would take you 2 months to eat through one of the halls.
No question.
Wow.
And so the people were fantastic. Look, it's a strict place. You cannot. There's no gum chewing in Singapore.
Period.
Period. Because with gum chewing comes what?
Spitting it out somewhere?
That's exactly right.
Sticking it under chairs and tables?
Yeah, you don't see gum on the ground. You don't see graffiti. You don't see people selling fake watches. And I know you're a watch boy. You got all your connections and your people. You can go to jail for selling fake watches. For wholesaling. You can.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There's no risk at buying fake stuff over there. It's clean. And some people say, oh, it's too much government. But I'm telling you, when you're there, you don't feel too much government. You just feel like a nice, clean, beautiful location. It's a little warm. It does get a little humid, but it's beautiful. Really beautiful.
Can you compare Singapore and Dubai at all, or are they that drastically different?
No, they're very. It's like comparing L.A. and New York,
Cleveland and San Diego.
Cleveland, yes. They're very different.
Yeah.
Dubai was really interesting. We met some great people. We stayed at a great place. We ate some, but I've said to people about Dubai, I go to Dubai if you really like gold. And I mean gold because everything's gold. Everything is brandished with gold. It's really, but it's a pretty amazing place because 30, 40 years ago, they were an oil rich country. And the oil ran out, and the Sheikh Mohammed, the head of I don't know, he's president. I mean, he's the top of the pile there. Saw this coming, and he said, "We need to find a way to bring money to this place because it's not going to be an oil rich country very soon." And he turned it into a destination country, and if you look at a map of Dubai 40 years ago and you look at it now, what they've done in 40 years is 1,000 times more than many countries have done in 100 or 200 years. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's not cheap. There is inexpensive food to eat, but generally it's kind of expensive and it's very outlandish. And so I fit more, as your question said. I mean, I fit more in Singapore. I like street food. I'm a fan of that. And I like a more casual environment. And Dubai is a little less that.
As someone who has traveled all over the globe in many different situations, corporate, rest, relaxation, blah, blah, blah. Big fan of Mexico, of course you are.
Yep. Yeah.
Is this the best trip you've had to date?
No, I'm a huge fan of Tokyo. I love Japan. If I had to pick one place to go, if I knew that I was going to die in a month and I could only go one place, I mean, apart from going and seeing family up in Canada, if there was a opportunity for an out of country trip with family, I'd go somewhere in Japan.
Really?
I love it. I love the people. I love the food. I love the culture. I love the environment. I love the work ethic. I love the way that they look at their responsibilities and stuff like that. It's really fantastic. I want you to get out of Cleveland and see some stuff. I heard you ask, was it Jess Pryles who had done some stuff in Mexico?
Yeah, she goes to Mexico.
Yeah. Did I hear you say to her, "Do you ever, let me ask you a question. Do you ever get worried about your location? I mean, you're like a grandmother.
Well,
it's a big world, bro. Get
not.
out. See, you are. When we talk about travel,
I talk about Mexico like that because
your questions are the worry questions. I remember I said Dubai to you, and you were like, "Ooh, wait."
No, what did I say when you said Dubai? Are you going to go? Are you going to meet Salt Bay? That's exactly what I said. And then I asked if you're going to go eat in his restaurant. And then I asked you if that's the place that does the air conditioning beaches.
Salt Bay.
That's what I did. I asked the Mexico questions because
general undertone with you of don't do the hand. There's a general undertone of, you feel safe, you okay, that kind of stuff.
Because in Mexico, specifically, when I worked in the airline industry and I have to deal with the handlers and the Mexican side of aviation over there, we get reports back. Every airport in Mexico is at least a level 4 security, which means in the airports, there are armed military. So,
great.
Maybe I'm not so excited to just race down to Veracruz or Matamoros or wherever the hell else.
Are you happy going to Texas, where there was just a mass shooting? Are you? I mean, look at where things have gone wrong in the world lately.
Yes.
It's been here. And I'm not arguing guns, no guns. I'm just saying bad things can happen everywhere, Mr. Rempe.
I understand.
Or as my Siri used to call you, Mr. Remp.
Well, thank God it corrected itself. As I've said also, I just don't have a burning desire to
no wanderlust.
Go see. I don't care.
It's a small why you should care.
But why should I care? Why do you care if I care? If I'm happy being here or traveling a little around here or there, I was just in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago.
Pittsburgh. Listen.
You said it, not me.
You only grow. I was talking about Pittsburgh today, about a Pittsburgh steak. You know what that is meant to be?
Are you asking me do I know what a Pittsburgh steak is?
Yeah, do you know?
Yeah, I know. What are you kidding?
Well, does the
I
audience
forgot.
know?
Sam the lot. How dare
No,
you?
you can't
Fans,
assume that everybody knows.
Fans, I apologize. He doesn't mean to insult you, of course.
I don't mean to insult. You assume everybody knows everything.
I assume your people might not know what a Pittsburgh steak is, but my people know what a Pittsburgh steak is. Of course.
Everybody does. You don't have one new person that just fell off the potato truck from Idaho, doesn't know a whole lot about. You see, I said something today we were shooting, and I said, I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm repeating myself because I know there's always new people joining this channel.
Right, because you have 4 million followers, and I have 4 followers. The same 4 followers.
Don't be so arrogant as to think that everybody knows everything about fucking barbecue. It's not true.
I mean, everybody knows what a Pittsburgh steak is that listens to the show.
Everybody doesn't know. Yeah, I said it to Max and Chance today.
Yes.
Pittsburgh steak. I said to somebody, do you know what that is? They went, a steak you cook in Pittsburgh? I said, no, it's not that.
I can
look.
I believe that.
Stop it. I do what I do now because I watched a cooking segment in 2001.
Yeah.
When a chef was on, a restaurant chef was on a local channel here making butternut squash soup. And near the end of maybe the most complicated version of butternut squash soup ever, he added creme fraiche.
What?
Wait. And the anchors that were with him didn't know what it was. They couldn't pronounce it. And he didn't take the time to say, okay, by the way, creme fraiche is just like a fancy sour cream. If you have sour cream, you can get to the same place just as deliciously. That's what I do. I make things understandable for people. And assuming that everybody knows what a fucking Pittsburgh steak is just wrong.
All right. Well, look here. Here's your best friend, Lance Owen. I honestly don't know what the Pittsburgh steak is, but I'm 5,000 miles away in Hawaii, so I have a bit of an excuse.
Nothing to do with it. 5,000 miles away.
Lance
it has
Owen's
to do
always
with
trying to work.
Assuming people know shit and they don't. Stop it. Hate to school you on your own show. But
if that's what you think you're doing, I just happen to know that the acumen of my audience is a lot more highbrow than your audience.
No, I would be curious to know how many people
Lance doesn't count,
know or don't know what a Pittsburgh steak is.
Here we go. I'll take a tally here. Everybody that has access to the instant chat, just put yes or no if you know what a Pittsburgh steak is.
Yeah.
And then if the majority don't know, you're all banned from listening to the show forever. Number one.
But listen, here's my goal. If one person doesn't know, I want them to know. I care about my audience. I was taught a long time ago. It's about the audience, not about you. Look at you laughing like a little schoolgirl behind your mic.
It's a medium rare steak with a ridiculous looking baseball hat on it.
That's a very funny comment.
No, Guy the Cooking Sam. That is not it.
Guy's very funny, but that's not it.
Sorry. All right, well, go ahead. Lance Owens doesn't know. Dan doesn't know. Allow me to retract my statement.
Stop it.
I'm so sorry. You people are dopes.
You're not sorry, but I've never heard I'm so sorry that was less delivered sorry in my life than what you just said.
Because I'm disappointed that my audience is as dopey as they are. They don't know what a Pittsburgh steak is? Like, how dare you? Give up your grills, you people, and you're banned from the show. You're out.
You're assuming everybody is like a hardcore KCBS weekend.
Sam, this isn't the 97.6 San Diego Morning Zoo dope show. This is the Barbecue Central show. Of course, I'm going to figure that my audience has some type of live fire acumen over and above the standard idiocracy of the world.
And that's the mistake you're making.
How dare you talk to me like this on my show?
I'm talking to you like this. That's the mistake.
How much money did you make last year?
Not, your classic Greg Rempe question.
That's right. Yeah. All right, so tell everybody what it is. What a Pittsburgh steak is. Go ahead.
Really fucking rare steak. Seared hard and
really,
fast. But
that's the explanation we're going to get?
Okay, you describe it.
Okay, I will. A classic Pittsburgh steak is traditionally done on with 2 cast iron pans.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
You fire those mother effers up so they're like almost molten. And then
By the way, I was done in like 3 seconds. Go ahead.
I'm telling you the proper way. You said really effing rare steak, which, by the way, is what you call a rare steak.
I said seared really hot and then...
2 cast iron pans, really hot. Thicker steak. You can't do it with a thin cut. Thicker cut steak. Plop it in there.
You shouldn't do anything with a thin cut, by the way.
Put it in there. Put it in there. And then slam the other pan on top of it. Minute or 2 each side, or a minute or 2, so you have contact on both ends. Take it out. That's it. It should be purple in the middle. It's not medium rare.
Oh,
it's purple in the middle.
I didn't say medium rare. I said rare.
So that's what it is.
By the way, turning down the volume, we still heard that.
So that's what it is. So if you want to do that, I think my mom was really into Pittsburgh steak back in the day.
Yeah.
She's since come up to like rare plus, but she was real big into Pittsburgh steak. So that's what it is. But it's very charred on the outside. It is hardly cooked on the inside. Yeah. Blue, Pittsburgh.
But here's what's important about this conversation. Don't assume that people know stuff. Don't assume that people know stuff.
Why am I assuming?
Well, because you made that comment about everybody in my audience knows what a Pittsburgh steak is, and clearly they don't.
They're just having fun with you. Of course they don't.
Look, when people use jargon with me,
like what?
Whatever industry, initials and whatever business they're in, I go, look, talk to me like I'm 5 years old, please. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to hear that. I want... Don't assume that everybody gets exactly what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's the new book. Fuck it. How about that?
How about fuck? You can say that if you want.
I'm just kidding.
Fuck it.
So,
go ahead.
Here's the great news. You were on Good Morning America last week.
I was.
Pimping that book.
I was.
Between the Buns. So, you sent me the link. I was excited. I wanted to watch it live, but work. Okay. But I get the link. I'm watching it, and like 25 seconds in, I'm out of breath. I'm nervous. I'm anxiety riddled, and this is just me watching it. So I can't imagine what it's like for you and for the folks. So I guess for the folks that don't know, this is where I'm not going to assume. For the folks that don't know, what's it like leading into a TV segment like that? And then what's it like actually having to go through it? Because it's live, right?
Yeah, it's live. I was told it would be like 3.5 minutes. And yet I was given this much stuff to go through, right? I used to work with a guy that said, that's like trying to put 10 pounds of shit in a 3-pound bag.
Right.
All right. It's a great expression.
Yeah.
And I knew what I had to do. I knew where I had to start. I knew where I had to end. In my mind, I had a general idea of the timing of it. And so I felt like I had to go fairly quick to fit everything in that they wanted me to fit in. It ended up being closer to 5 minutes, I think. And I don't know at what point that happened, if they just let it happen because it was going well or not, whatever.
I don't know how you could have won any faster either without just leaving chunks of information out.
No, I watched it and I felt like, I almost never watch my stuff. And thanks for sending that. I really never watch my stuff back. I don't want to see myself. I don't like myself. And I did watch it and I felt like the pace was, for what I had to do and cram into that 3 pound bag, I felt like it's good. I was okay with the whole thing. I really was. The funny thing is so like Good Morning America sends a car. My wife Kelly came and my literary agent Lee came. So we get picked up at Lee met us there, but they pick us up with car service at the hotel. They drive us there. The car pulls up at like this backstage door of Good Morning America. We get out of this giant black Suburban. The second we get out, the first thing we see are paparazzi cameras. Boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
And I think that they are just positioned there to catch anybody that's going in the show that morning.
Yeah.
They may not know who they are. They may find out later that it's somebody important. And I know quite certain that when this ended, they looked at their cameras and went, the fuck is that? It was the craziest thing. And so we go in, we had to do a COVID test right there. And then we obviously, if one of the three of us had failed, the segment would have been over.
No way.
Yeah. So it didn't matter for me because I did it, but it didn't matter for me because I was the guy. But Kelly and Lee each did them before they got to the Good Morning America. And they passed their own tests, and then they passed the test there, and then they put you in a green room, and then the people come. I was wearing a T-shirt that said, "If fat means flavor, then I'm fucking delicious."
Yeah.
And if you know the T-shirt, it doesn't say fucking. It's F, a bunch of characters, ing. And the producer of the segment that I've been talking to for a couple of weeks puts us in the green room. I finally take my jacket off, and then about 10 minutes before the segment, she comes and says, "Oh, we were like 10 minutes away, blah, blah, blah." She shuts the door, and then she opens it back up again, and she goes, "So, do you have another shirt?" I went, "I do, actually." She goes, "Oh, I'm so glad, because this would have been my last day here."
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. And I knew I was pushing it with that shirt. I don't think it's a bad shirt. Because
that gets her fired if you wear it on the air?
No, because they would have gotten so many people complaining. Look, I did a video a week for Bed Bath & Beyond for 3 years.
Yeah, I remember.
About equipment, about stuff, whatever. We did a Thanksgiving video, and it was me making food and a guy showing how to set a table, how to make things pretty, all right. So we had everything covered. I got the food. He's got the setting up of Thanksgiving ready, and we called it Friendsgiving. That was the title of this: How to Have a Perfect Friendsgiving. The Bed Bath & Beyond people emailed us about a week after that and said, "Well, that's the last time we'll ever do anything called Friendsgiving." And I said, "Why?" They said, "Because so many people wrote in and said, we're not happy that they've taken God out of Thanksgiving."
Friendsgiving is the day before Thanksgiving.
I went, when did Thanksgiving become about God? Isn't Thanksgiving about being thankful for the food you have, the friends you have, the bounty you have? And they're very sensitive. So these big companies are very sensitive to
Yeah,
that.
of course.
And I got what she said, but I came prepared. I had another T-shirt ready, and it was from one of our restaurants.
Was it bringing the C word back?
No, honestly, I said that to Kelly. How about this one? And she just gave me one of these. And she doesn't wear glasses, but if she did, she'd be looking over the top of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So score yourself out of 5 on the Good Morning America appearance.
Oh, I never would give myself a 5. I mean, I think
4.5.
I did a solid 4.
Yeah. And you like it better than doing the Today Show? Or very, very similar in the end?
Here's the thing. The Today Show went bad for me when Matt Lauer became kind of a fucking pervert cunt, whatever. Oops. I didn't mean to say that. And kicked off Ann Curry, who I thought was a really lovely person. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I like the Today Show people now. I like the Good Morning America people, but we watch Good Morning America literally every morning.
Oh,
we're fans of Good Morning America. So TJ Holmes that I was with, I'm a huge fan of his.
Oh.
I follow him on Instagram. Amy Robach that would have been there had it not been for the Texas shootings would have been there with us. So I like all of them, but I'm of a certain age that appreciates that national morning show kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Max, who's 34, doesn't give a shit about it. He doesn't watch television outside of like Netflix or stuff like that. So.
Yeah, right.
Do you watch any morning shows?
I don't watch any. I hardly watch TV. Whatever TV I watch is because my wife likes this show or that show. I don't have any show to watch. And I don't watch the news unless she has it on. If I was like a single guy, I would not have any television. I wouldn't watch any television. It would just be, streaming podcasts or music. Not even Netflix. I wouldn't be watching any of that. I just would never watch TV. I would be working on the show, listening to music, or listening to other podcasts, and that would be it.
So Kelly's been away for a week. She comes back tomorrow.
Where's she going to?
She went to Vancouver to see family.
Outrageous.
It's not really outrageous. We can't go to the old country. We're allowed.
The mother country. The motherland.
The motherland. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go to Canada, people. By the way, if you're listening and you're like Greg and you're scared of going to countries that have foreign language, you're scared.
I'm not scared. I don't want to.
I'm talking to your audience now. I'm looking right at the camera. If you're scared of going to foreign countries like Greg that have different languages and
Canada speaks English,
food that you don't understand, go to Canada. We're kinder, we're gentler. You'll understand it. It will feel like here. Except just a little.
You live
nicer.
in San Diego for like 30 years. You don't even count.
I do count.
You're not just a Canadian. You're American.
I was born there. I'm
Sorry.
American. Want to see my passport?
No. Don't show it on the show.
It's got a maple leaf on it, buddy.
Yeah.
A maple leaf.
Do you even know what hockey is?
Well, here's the thing. I'm in this country because they asked me to leave because I didn't really care about hockey enough. They're like, Mr. Zion? I go, yeah. They go, you're not following our hockey enough, so could you leave? I go, but I love poutine. They go, you should go.
And denim.
Denim. I don't do the Canadian tuxedo.
I'm rocking it. Yeah.
Stop it.
Greatest Father's Day gift is probably going to be the book then?
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah?
I mean, if you're not going to give the book to the old man, then cook the old man something.
What?
I say this every year. It doesn't matter. Mother's Day, Father's Day, anniversaries, birthdays. We can always take money out of our pocket and take somebody out to eat.
Right.
But cooking means something. It comes from the heart. You've spent some time, whether you've worked on a recipe, you've looked up a recipe, it doesn't matter. Do something that comes from the heart. And go watch our Father's Day episode that we aired last week with
Why did you put it out so early?
Why?
Yeah, like why didn't you put it out this week?
Because that's when Traeger wanted it to come out.
Oh, got it. So there's a whole collaboration with you and the
Traeger collab. Oh yeah. Oh, they're not the enemy. They're only the enemy for you.
I was just trying to sneak it in to see if you heard it. I know. I'm just kidding. I'm a big fan. I like the cookers, of course.
I know you do.
I was kidding. So touchy.
By the way,
you're of that age where you're really touchy.
No, I'm not touchy. Who was I listening to you talk about? Dr. Barbecue.
Yeah.
Now, as a fucking pellet smoker collab, I love that.
He's got a Louisiana grill.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, he's
that
their
he came from the stick burner, the old school version of it, and has fully embraced it.
He was the corporate chef for the Big Green Egg for like 20 years.
Yeah. And by the way, let's not forget which Mr. Traeger was just inducted.
Joe Traeger, yeah.
He was. By the way, I was like, wait, what the fuck? He hasn't already been inducted?
Oh. It's a Hall of Fame that's a consistent work in progress, okay?
No, but as I heard Ray say, there's a lot of people that should be. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
Yeah. I listen to your nonsense.
I appreciate you listening to my nonsense.
Will
you listen to this nonsense specifically, or you will just bypass this particular nonsense? Is this will you re-listen?
What we're doing now?
Yeah.
I will not re-listen to this.
You won't?
Not in 1,000 years.
I think you would find it to be entertaining. I'm going to listen to it on Thursday.
I still don't get that.
How about this? Let's both listen to it.
Wait, answer this question, everybody listening. Should he not just post everything all at once? What's with this hour 1, hour 2 nonsense separated by 24 hours?
It's consumability.
You don't think people can...
I understand people can hit a pause button, but it's more easily consumed, and it's more listened through.
People know everything.
No,
clearly they don't.
No. I did it one way for a long time, and then when I changed it, I tracked the progress, and it is a more successful show the way that it is now.
Enigma.
That's what my oldest daughter's second grade teacher called her.
Well, she's right.
She's like, she told me, your daughter's an enigma. And then I punched that bitch right in the face. How about that? That was it.
You can't do that.
Knocked her right out.
You can't say that anymore. That's not 2022 cool.
Statute of limitations is passed, so it's all right. I didn't talk about it until tonight. So, all right. So here's what you need to do. Sam the Cooking Guy can be found over on the YouTube. Sam the Cooking Guy. 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, new cooking shows. If you haven't watched, as he said, the Father's Day episode, it's really good. Let me set a premise for you. Sam directing his sons, some of which are fairly accomplished cooks, some of which might not be, and then to see all three of them interacting to get a meal that's not like a complicated meal, but there's some labor and things that you need to do right in order to get this thing off. And Sam is like blindfolded, I'm using air quotes, telling him what to do, hoping they're just getting it done right, and then it all comes together. It's a great watch on many levels. I certainly appreciate it.
I can't tell you how many comments I've had. People, I don't mean comments on YouTube. There's a lot there, but how many friends, people I know, acquaintances have emailed me and said, "Oh my God, I fucking love the episode."
That's great. And then the grandkid makes an appearance a couple times. It's very cute.
And now the three boys are thinking about creating their own YouTube channel.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
They're actually having that conversation. I'm like, boys, I'm here for you. I will pimp the F out of you.
We'll talk off air about that, because all of a sudden I have a million questions. I have a million questions about that, and I don't want to just lag it up.
Can't wait to hear that.
And then there was something else I was going to say. to tie that portion up. I was going to say I would love to have my 3 daughters do that, but I fear each of them having access to a Sam the Cooking Guy knife could only lead to all of them stabbing each other. I don't think they would be they're very competitive. Let's just say it like that. So
you don't think my boys aren't competitive?
Yeah, but they're a little older, so I think we have a little bit of just acting out of impulse.
They chill a little bit more.
Yeah. So we'll give them another, maybe we'll give them 5 to 10. And then
And by the way, I've noticed that I'm getting darker as it gets darker here in San Diego.
Yeah. Well, you should get a loom cube. Yeah, that's all right.
Well, it was good in the beginning, and now
that's right. Now we're tying it up here. So go subscribe to Sam if you haven't, but I think a lot of you already have, of course, and you're watching it. Get the book if you haven't, Between the Buns, and that is real cheese on his face. That has not been photoshopped in. All the condiments and toppings are right there laying on his face.
Real photo.
Unbelievable.
100% real photo. Yeah.
And you can always find him here the first Tuesday of every month in the second hour. It is Sam the Cooking Guy, thecookguy.com. That's right. Sam, always appreciate the time. There he is. Man. Love you.
All guests appear via the Oklahoma Joe's Rider Deluxe Pellet Grills hotline.
And I hope you enjoyed the extended session. Oh, what did I do with it? Yeah, here it is. Before we call it an evening, I'll talk to you about Yoder Smokers, designing and building all of the products right here in the United States, building pride through craftsmanship, world-class customer service, the backbone of how they've built the company. The approach translates into what can be a truly bespoke style product that elevates gatherings with friends and family, honored to have a trusted place in the backyards of America. From pellet grills to wood-fueled offsets and charcoal grills, consistent blue ribbon flavor has become synonymous with the Yoder Smokers name. Make no mistake, Yoder Smokers flavor-driven design unique to each style of pit, and the team has developed their cookers to perform time and time again while outlasting the competition for generations to come. It's this generational thought that's rooted in the handmade products and defines the integrity of the core values: American-made quality and endless flavor, the benchmarks of Yoder Smokers. Visit yodersmokers.com and grab yours today. We're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Sam the Cooking Guy for joining us last segment. This portion brought to you by Vortic Watches. Back in the day, watches were made to be worn in the pocket. After World War II, the wristwatch became much more fashionable and easy to wear. Pocket watches quickly became an afterthought, finding their way into sock drawers and scrap heaps. Quite simply a travesty. Enter Vortic Watch Company, helping bridge the gap between America's storied watch manufacturing past and bringing it to the present day, where wristwatches are finding incredible popularity once again. And here's the coolest part: each watch that Vortic makes is unique and one of a kind. Vortic, founded on the motto that America wasn't assembled, it was built. Check out vorticwatches.com for more info today. All right, all the way back in the first hour, it was Mark Williams from Swine Life BBQ, giving us a little bit of a how to barbecue right / Killer Hogs recap at Memphis in May, and talking about milk cows and eating them. More on that to follow in the upcoming months. Then we were backed up by Adrian Miller, adrianemiller.com, talking about the James Beard nomination for Black Smoke. We also talked about the BBQ Hall of Fame. We also talked about the unsung black barbecue cooks. And we also talked about, can there be too many halls of fame when it comes to barbecue and when it comes to the African-American cooks? Second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy. We played a fairly butchered round of what does Sam like best, and then we got into the trip to Dubai and Singapore. Also talked about Good Morning America. I was lectured about how I anticipate and expect my listening audience to know things about the barbecue and grilling industry, and I will continue that expectation. A high level of expectation here for my listener, but that's fine. And then we rounded it out by talking about his Good Morning America appearance and what that's like. All great stuff. So if you missed it, it's all in the podcast coming as early as a couple hours from now, and the second hour Thursday and the best of on Friday. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to BBQ Central.